Hello and welcome to another episode of What's Inside. Today we're looking at a vintage classic. I think this is a reprint though, because the cellophane's in really good shape. 221B Baker Street, the Master Detective game. This is of course a Sherlock Holmes game. Came out in the 70s, 1977 specifically. This is sort of a precursor to like Consulting Detective and Mythos Tales. Where you have to run around and get information and try and solve the mystery. And there's different locations that you stop at. We'll look at it inside here in a second. It's considered a classic, but a lot of people hate this game. You either love it or you hate it. So this game has been around for decades now, and there were expansions for it. There were, I think, a total of 200 mysteries to solve. But yeah, some of them were not all that good or popular. But maybe in a future episode we can review some of those. But let's see what's in here. Open this thing up. See what we got inside here. There's a more complete edition that comes with all the expansions. Alright, this is set number 1. Here's a pad of keys. Kind of cheaply made. Kind of very cheaply made. Over here we've got our... Ooh. Wow. Nice packaging. Alright, we've got a solution checklist. All the places on the map to go and the solution. It's just a pad of these. Nothing too spectacular. It's the number H10 pad from John and Hansen Company, Inc. in California. These are the things I would be worried about missing because they're obviously important to the game. Then we've got some pieces of something that are all kind of beat up looking. We'll look at those in a second. Here's the... Oh, what's this? Oh, there's apparently more games. Sherlock Holmes and the Time Machine. Original version. That's this. And you can order replacement bits apparently. But this is the rules, clues, case solutions for set 1. So yeah, everything you need is right here. Here's the clues. You'll reference. Yep, pretty straightforward. Here's the cases. Case number 1, The Adventure of the Unholy Man, for example. On one side is the basic outlay of the adventure, flavor text, and then places to go on the back. I don't want to give too much away. There's some silica packs, keep it nice and fresh, you know, for the ladies. Alright, here's our board. Here's some little badges, little pad of badges. Those will be missing too if you buy this used, I'm sure. So look for those. There's a die. The die is pretty cheap looking. Rolls okay, but it's obviously very cheap. It's discolored, probably from sitting next to these lead pieces. Nothing hiding under there. All right, let's move this little commercial insert out of the way and look at the board. Alright, the board is not big, it's a little 4-piece. The cardboard quality is pretty good. The gloss is really cheap because I could it's got a weird texture to it from being in the packaging. You got Scotland Yard down here, and you've got like the Playhouse Park, Apothecary, Boar's Head Inn. Where you start is over here at Baker Street, and basically just wander around going to the other places. The keys go over here. and the badges go on Scotland Yard. So it's not a big board. It's pretty small actually. So pretty easy to transport. It's a bookshelf size, like a second edition D&D box set. So it does fold up. I wouldn't be too worried about the seams on this one. It's a pretty decent quality board. I'm more worried about the coating on here sticking together, so that when you pull it open, it's gonna like rip off part of the board. I'd be more worried about that, because that's really cheap. The board quality itself, though, is actually shockingly good. Let's look at our lead pieces here. Don't put these in your mouth, because they're... Oh wait, these might be plastic that look like lead. Yeah, these are just cheap plastic. It's designed to look like lead, but they're clearly plastic. And this one's broken off of something. Yeah, there's a piece broken off. But we have a hat, a magnifying glass. Oh, it's the top of this violin that broke. A pipe. This looks like a lantern. And a time machine. Because it needed a time machine piece. I don't know why there's a time machine in there, but there is. So, yeah, you get your little pieces here. This game, like I said, is kind of a mixed bag. A lot of people hate it. Older gamers seem to like it quite a bit, because it is from, you know, that classic era of the beginning of the board game revolution. This was way ahead of its time in the 70s, but it's just not as complex as most modern gamers would want. If you want something more along the lines of like Mythos Tales, just by Consulting Detective, or something along those lines. The Consulting Detective even has an expansion out now for the Jack the Ripper and West End Adventures, it's called. But this is a reprint. This is from John Hansen, I think. Since 1947 the company's been around, but this is a re-release. This is better for younger players, honestly, or people that are new to board games, because the problems are not that complex, the mysteries aren't that deep. You just basically have to go around the map. But for younger players, it might be a little more in line with that. You know, they might be able to handle the simplistic nature of this. There's no age range given, but it's probably better around 12. You know, teenage age, right around that. 12 to 14 would probably be okay. Younger than that might have a little bit of difficulty with the storylines. I'm not sure. It kind of depends on the kid. But yeah, that's 221B Baker Street, the Master Detective game. It's a classic that, you know, it's one of those games that you feel, if you're really into like the detective games, like Clue even, this is kind of along those lines, but slightly more complicated. Not as complex as Mythos Tales or Consulting Detective. Those are more of adult party games. This is a very early precursor to those that definitely inspired them, and it definitely set the trend for those. So from a historical perspective, it's definitely something you'd want in your collection. But I don't know if this is going to be for everyone, or if you'll even enjoy it. I personally think the game's okay. It's just incredibly simple. And for what it is, though, what it was trying to achieve, I respect that. And it really set the groundwork for a lot of games that I do enjoy. So there's that. But that'll do it for this episode. As always, thank you for watching, and we hope to see you next time on What's Inside.